Hi, this is Dr. Sage Breslin, and this is Wisdom Wednesdays, my special series on my journey with cancer. So, I don't know how much wisdom I have this week. Last Thursday, my mother passed away after a pretty difficult and courageous battle with cancer. And my mom and I had a really interesting relationship and kind of a conflicted relationship until I was in my 30s. I think in many ways, while my grandmother was still alive, she took kind of a first position. My mom had some pretty big medical emergencies when I was born, and as a result of those emergencies, my grandmother stepped in and cared for me. And I think in many ways, I bonded with her, kind of like a duckling. I bonded to her, and my mother in many ways came second. And there was kind of about a 6-month delay in my mom's ability to really be a primary caretaker. And I think my mom did, everything she could for me, and, certainly stepped up to the plate. No complaints there. But I think energetically, there was always this, this space between us. And as I became an adult, as I stepped into my own power, as I stepped into myself, really, when I really was releasing the past and really stepping into my intuitive self, it gave my mom this incredible permission to step into herself as well. I had no idea that my mom was clairsentient. I lived this life growing up thinking that I was the weird one and that, my parents wouldn't be able to understand me. And so it was so incredible when my mom finally came out to me as clairsentient, because we could relate to one another in an entirely different way. And we began to sort of develop our own language and our own fluid space together. And my mom really became my biggest fan, which is just such a remarkable thing to have. Not just a fan, but really like somebody who will always step into your court, somebody who will always have your back, somebody who always cares about, where you are and what you're doing and who you are, and that you're loved. And that's really difficult not to have. Really difficult. And to be walking steadfastly into this bone marrow transplant in now, 4 weeks time without her is a challenge. I have been so blessed with so many incredible people who are showing up for me, who are donating their time and their expertise and their funds to ensure that I and the kids have what we need. And, I'm not sure I could be more grateful, but there's something about knowing that I can't hear her voice anymore. That's really hard. I've had so many losses in my life, and I've lost so many friends and loved ones. But this feels really different this time. I think because for me, my own life is so uncertain, and this process that I'm entering feels so uncertain. I liked having her there, as the voice of steadfastness. And while she was always saying, "Oh, you're the positive one," I think in many ways she was the positive one. And she reminded me of the value of just continuing to look forward and really be grateful for every day. And honestly, I'm grateful for her passage, I'm grateful that she's not in pain anymore. I'm grateful that she's no longer straddled with a body that wasn't working and was so excruciating for her to be in. And it is a gift to me. As I move forward, I am not worrying about how she is. I know how she is. She's grand. She's in God's kingdom now. Like, she's with her own parents and other loved ones. And I am incredibly grateful that she made this choice to transition so that I can actually focus on this process for myself. And I hope that that doesn't sound terrible or selfish to anyone. And if it does, I don't care because that's my truth. My truth is that I'm glad she's in a better place now. I'm glad that she's not suffering anymore. I'm glad that I'm not suffering watching her die anymore. I'm glad that I don't have to bleed my energy out into that at a time where I need to focus on myself and my children and on this process and very quickly on growing new bone marrow. So I am trying to be gentle with myself. It's hard. It's not been quite a week, and I'm still counting the number of times I think of her every day. And I know from having lost my grandparents that it will be that thing. I'm going to try to call her. I know it happens, you know, and then you hang up and you start again. And I know that she's with me every step of the way. I know I can feel her. I was there energetically with her as she made that choice to transition, and I felt like a foundational part of that process. And about that, I am grateful to have been included. I'm grateful that I had the skills and the wherewithal to be there on that journey with her. It doesn't take away the pain, by the way. But I'm glad I was there. I'm glad I was there energetically. So I suppose the wisdom for today, if there is anything, is what I have to offer to myself, which is I've got to be gentle with myself. I feel many times like my head is going to explode and I'm trying to handle so many things in the next month. And I am still trying to see my clients and get people started and get people referred to my team and get people enrolled in our mastermind and get people enrolled in their self-study courses. And I know that I'm going to soon be handing this off to colleagues and staff. Couldn't do it without them. But there are days here lately where I just feel like, how can I even be in this body? How can I even do this? How can I put one more foot in front of the other? And I just have to trust. Everything is moving along exactly as it needs to. So be gentle with yourself. That's the wisdom I am just consuming whole today and probably every day forward. Be gentle with yourself. So when you think about your own lives, how are you being gentle with yourself? And maybe how are you not being gentle with yourself? What are the ways in which you need to be more gentle with yourself? You know, I think especially at times when you're needing to take your time and you don't need the cheerleader who's shaming you or criticizing you for your pace or your performance. You can hire a coach for that. You know, we'll keep you accountable. I will say, now my staff will keep you accountable until I return. But until then, be gentle with yourself. This is Dr. Sage Breslin. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me and being a part of my tribe.